All right, we in there. So thank you for the patience. Thank you for allowing me to just bring this forth in the midst. And let me get to the message of what I was going to share today. So starting off, because I'll do the blog page later. Like I mentioned, you guys can find the blog. Just go to waynelyons.org, and there you'll find each of these blogs on Sunday. And just today, I want to start off with wisdom. What is wisdom? Then wisdom is the ability to use knowledge, experience, and good judgment to make sound decisions and understand life deeply. So that's the foundation of what wisdom is. And it's not just about knowing facts. It's about knowing what matters, when it matters, and how to act on it. So key parts of wisdom is knowledge plus experience. So you learn things through knowledge, but wisdom comes from living, reflecting, and applying those lessons. So if a person is just book smart, that's cool, but if they don't know how to apply it to make their life better, they're not considered wise. Having good judgment, wisdom helps you choose the right action, not just the obvious or easy one. And it gives perspective, seeing the bigger picture, understanding consequences, and recognizing the situations are often complex. So being able to see every perspective, every side, every angle of every situation that you're in, that's what brings wisdom. And then also emotional balance. A wise person can manage emotions and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. So how thinkers described it is like Socrates, when you talk about people who helped form the Bible out of studying after getting the wisdom and living with it. It came from somewhere and it had to be applied in order to be sustained, in order to be proven true. So Socrates suggested that wisdom begins with recognizing how little we truly know. Because in order to become wise, we have to learn more. We have to seek to gain wisdom, to gain knowledge, to gain experience. So Aristotle described it as practical judgment, knowing how to live well. And often the Bible connects wisdom with humility and moral understanding. And we talk about where were the people who created the Bible? Where did they get this knowledge from? Where did they get this wisdom from? It had to be passed on from somewhere. And that source is where I want to share today. So I'm gonna give a simple example first before I get into it. Knowledge. The difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is just saying how fire is hot. Yeah, we know that fire is hot, and that's anybody who has knowledge will know that. But what brings wisdom is don't touch the fire and maybe don't play with it in the dry forest because of you knowing the consequences of those actions. So not just knowing that fire is hot, but how does that apply to your life? What does it mean that fire is hot? What will happen because the fire is that hot? That's what wisdom is. And that's what we want to use when we study the Bible, we study the scriptures, when we study these ancient texts. We want to not just read it for the surface level of what it's saying, but how does it really apply to our life and how can we benefit from it? That's really what makes a wise person. That's what I want to encourage today, becoming more wise. So, in short, wisdom is applied understanding, the ability to make good choices and live thoughtfully, especially in situations where there is no simple answer. So, if you want, let me go into another perspective that I wanted to share because I had a session this week where we was talking about outer space. We was talking about, spaceships. The guy had a zoom on and his background was a spaceship. So I was like, man, do you really know how big outer space really is in perspective? So we talk about how big the earth is, how big our city is, and we want to talk about us as individuals. We one person in one town, in one city, in one state, one nation. But when we think about the world, the earth is a planet within a solar system, within a galaxy, which is within the universe. And we talk about how big that space is. It's not measured, that space, that distance is not measured in feet. It's even too big to measure in miles. The way they measure it is in light years. So I want to explain what a light year is. So a light year, and before we even get to this, I want to first have everybody pause and meditate and take a deep breath to open your mind to receive this information, what I'm getting ready to share. So just slow through your nose, slow out through your mouth, and open up space in your existence, in your being, to just receive the knowledge and then discern it. And you take from it what is helpful. And if it's not helpful, you could discard it. But I just want you to really hear what's being said today. A light year is measure of distance, not time, even though it sounds like it's about years. Here's how it's measured. You start with the speed of light, and light travels at a constant speed in the vacuum. So that's about 299,792 kilometers per second. So if you want to put it in miles, that's 186,282 miles per second. That's how fast light travels. 186,282 miles per second. So multiplied by time, a light year is the distance light travels in 1 year. So light is the distance that light travels in 1 year. So imagine moving 186,000 miles per second for a full year. So that means every second in a year, it's about 31.5 million seconds in a year. So multiply that by the speed of light. So the result, 1 light year equals about 9.46 trillion kilometers or about 5.88 trillion miles. So 1 light year is 5.88 trillion miles. So think of that distance. And why is that important? Because I'm talking about the reference to the universe, talking about the relation to God who created the universe. So just to think how vast God can be. So we don't limit him with our human thinking. 1 light year is 5.88 trillion miles. And why does scientists use this? It's the distance that explains the distance from the Earth to the sun. That's about 8 light years. No, 8 light minutes. And then the nearest star system is called the Alpha Centauri. That is about 4.37 light years away. So just think about the distance, the space, the amount of life, the amount of matter, the amount of things. So in a simple way of thinking, a light year answers this question. If light keeps moving nonstop, how fast does it go in 1 year? And the reason I bring all of this up is because I want to make reference to the Emerald Tablets and the ancient wisdom that was left between the ancient Kemet world, the time before the ancient Kemet world, which was the civilizations that lived within before the flood, the great flood that everybody talks about. So this wisdom was left and shared and has been preserved and still goes out to bring wisdom to the people. So I want to share and just allow you guys to, if you have it in your desire to gain this information, to be able to go out, read the Emerald Tablets, gain more wisdom, and just see how it impacts your life. The same way a person can say, if you read the book of Proverbs, you will enhance your relationships, your life, your outcomes. That's the same thing I'm suggesting with these Emerald Tablets. So I want to just share the preface and the introduction so you can understand what it's all about. So the history of the tablets translated in the following pages is strange beyond the belief of modern scientists. Their antiquity is stupendous, dating back some 36,000 years before Christ. So I just put it in reference how long it's been in existence and where even Christ got his knowledge from when he went to study in ancient Kemet, when he went to Egypt, went into the pyramid, studied from the priests. This is the knowledge and the wisdom and the information that they have been embracing. So the writer is Thoth, an Atlantean priest king who founded a colony in ancient Egypt after sinking of the mother country. He was the builder of the Great Pyramid of Giza, erroneously attributed to Cheops, the Great Pyramid of Dorel. In it, he incorporated his knowledge of the ancient wisdom and also securely secreted records and instruments of ancient Atlantis. So, for some 16,000 years, he ruled the ancient race of Egypt from approximately 50,000 BC to 36,000 BC. At that time, the ancient barbarous race among which he had his followers had settled and had been raised to a higher degree of civilization. Thoth was an immortal, that is, he had conquered death, passing only when he willed, and even then, not through death. His vast wisdom made him ruler over the various Atlantean colonies, including the ones in South and Central America. So not only in ancient Egypt, also ancient America. So just talk about, man, let me keep going. When the time came from him to leave Egypt, he created the Great Pyramid over the entrance to the great halls of Amenti, placed in it his records and appointed guards. For these guards, he became the pyramid priest, by which Thoth was deified as the god of wisdom, the recorder by those in the age of darkness which followed his passing. In legend, the halls of Amenti became known as the underworld, or the halls of the gods, where the soul passed after death for judgment. During later ages, the ego of Thoth passed into the bodies of men in the manner described in the tablets. As such, he incarnated 3 times in the last being known as Hermes, the thrice born. In this incarnation, he left the writings known to modern occultists as the Emerald Tablets, a later and far lesser exposition of the ancient mysteries. The tablets translated in his work are 10 which were left in the Great Pyramid in the custody of the pyramid priest. The 10 are divided into 13 parts for the sake of convenience. The last 2 are so great and far reaching in the importance that at present it is forbidden to release them to the world at large. However, in those contained herein are secrets which will prove of intestable, inestimable value to the serious student. They should be read not once, but 100 times, for only then can the true meaning be revealed. A casual reading will give a glimpse of the beauty, but more intensive study will open avenues of wisdom to the seeker. But now, a word as to how these mighty secrets came to be revealed to modern man after being hidden so long. This was some 1,300 years before Christ. Egypt, which was then ancient Kemet, was in turmoil, and many delegations of priests were sent to other parts of the world. Among these were some of the pyramid priests who carried with them the emerald tablets as a talisman by which they could exercise authority over the less advanced priests of the different races who descended from the Atlantean colonies. The tablets were understood from legend to give the bearer authority from this thought. The particular group of priests bearing the tablets immigrated to South America, where they found a flourishing race, the Mayas, who remembered much of the ancient wisdom. Among these, the priests settled and remained. In the 10th century, the Mayas had thoroughly settled the Yucatan, and the tablets were placed beneath the altar of one of the great temples of the sun god. After the conquest of the Mayas by the Spaniards, the cities were abandoned and the treasures of the temples forgotten. It should be understood that the Great Pyramid of Egypt has been and still is the temple of initiation into these mysteries. So Jesus, Solomon, and Apollonius, and others who were initiated there, the writer who was connected with the Great White Lodge, which also works through the pyramid priesthood, was instructed to recover and return the Great Pyramid, the ancient tablets. This, after adventures which not be detailed here, was accomplished. Before returning them, he was given permission to translate and retain a copy of the wisdom engraved on the tablets. And this was done in 1925, and only now has permission been given for part to be published. It is expected that many will scoff, yet the true student will read between the lines and gain wisdom. If the light is in you, the light which is engraved in these tablets will respond. Now, a word as to the material aspect of the tablets. They consist of 12 tablets of emerald green. It is formed from a substance created through alchemical transmutation. They are imperishable, resistant to all elements and substances. So, in effect, the atomic and secular or cellular structure is fixed. There is no change ever taking place. In this respect, they violate the material law of ionization, which means they do not rust, they do not get destroyed. Upon them are engraved characters in ancient Atlantean language, characters which respond to attuned thought waves, releasing the associated mental vibration in the mind of the reader. The tablets are fastened together with hoops of golden colored alloy suspended from a rod on the same material. So much for the material appearance. The wisdom contained therein is foundational of the ancient mysteries. And for the one who reads with open eyes and open mind, his wisdom shall be increased 100-fold. So read it, believe it or not, but read it, and the vibration found therein will awaken a response in your soul. So I want to pause there because that's the preference, and just to put into simple words in English how we speak, what it is saying is it has been chemically created so that it does not rust, it does not mold, it does not through time decay the material that is made from, and the language in which it is speaking is from the Atlantean age. So before any written language was there, they used vibrational telepathic communication. And in that, it creates the thought wave from the mind. So the same way you tune a radio station to get the reggae station, to get the jazz station, to get the news station, the vibrational waves that it triggers in your mind gives you the receptor to be able to receive this knowledge and wisdom and communication. So it's not in English language. It's transcribed so we can understand it in our words. But the way it was written was through vibrational. And that's what I want to help you guys. That's why I made this reference to time travel, outer space, and how vast God's time is. And the fact that the cosmos and the energy in which this was built. You wonder why we still can't figure out how to build the pyramids. How did they do it? It's because they had gotten so advanced because of the amount of spiritual awareness they had gained. They were not just stuck in the physical, limited thought process that we are in today. So that's what this wisdom helps you break free from the traps of the deception that the physical world has placed on us. So just let me finish here with this introduction, and then I'll pass it back to open forum, where it says, in the following pages, I will reveal some of the mysteries which as yet have only been touched upon lightly, either by myself or other teachers or students of truth. Man's search for understanding of the laws which regulate his life have been unending, and yet always just beyond the veil which shields the higher planes from material man's vision, the truth has existed, ready to be assimilated by those who enlarge their vision by turning inward, not outward, in their search. So see how Christ be saying the kingdom of God is in you? It's saying the same thing. In the silence of material senses lies the keys to the unveiling of the wisdom. He who talks does not know, and he who knows does not talk. The highest knowledge is unutterable, for its existence as an entity in lanes, for as it exists as an entity in lanes which transcends all material words or symbols. So it's beyond anything physical. This knowledge, so you can't even speak it. You just feel it through the vibration, just being exposed to it. That's what this is saying. All symbols are but the keys to the doors leading to the truths. And many times the door is not open because the key seems so great that the things which are beyond it are not visible. So if we can understand that all keys, all material symbols are a manifestation, but extensions of a great law of truth, we will begin to develop the vision which will enable us to penetrate beyond the veil. So it's saying don't allow the physical things to limit the access to this infinite knowledge and spiritual divine access. All things in the universe, it says all things in all universes move according to law. And the law which regulates the movement of the planets is no more immutable than the law which regulates the material expressions of man. So, one of the greatest of all cosmic laws is that which is responsible for the formation of man as a material being. The great aim of the mystery schools of all ages has been to reveal the workings of the law which connect man, the material, and man, the spiritual. The connecting link between the material man and the spiritual man is the intellectual man. For the mind partakes of both the material and immaterial qualities. The aspiration for higher knowledge must develop the intellectual side of his nature and so strengthen his will that is able to concentrate all powers of his being on and in the planes he desires. The great search for light, life, and love only begins on the material plane. Carried to its ultimate, its final goal is complete oneness with the universal consciousness. The foundation in the material is the first step. Then comes the higher goal of spiritual attainment. So, in the following pages, I will give an interpretation of the Emerald Tablets and their secret, hidden, and esoteric meanings. Concealed in the words of Thoth are many meanings that do not appear on the surface. Light of knowledge brought to bear upon the tablets will open many new fields for thought. Read and be wise, but only if the light of your own consciousness awakens the deep-seated understanding, which is an inherent quality of the soul. So that's what I wanted to share today and just encourage you guys to take a look, do some searching, studying, discovering for yourself because it can only be revealed to those who desire to have it. So that's why it's saying this stuff, it's been placed here in the physical material world just so we can have access to it. But that's just the key to the door. That's not actually what's going to open the door. It's your desire to really gain a greater understanding for the tools and the keys that's been left for us to explore what's already within us. So the spirit world, the God that created us, he said he created us in his likeness and image. So what's that mean to be in the likeness of God? Search within and that will be revealed to you. And I just wanted to encourage you guys to pursue wisdom. And that's really what this message was all about. Knowing where to find it, taking time to dwell and embrace it and really be in it. So you can make yourself wise and while we have this time here on earth, show ourselves approved. Thank you for allowing me to share. And I pass it back to open forum. Grand Rising family. Any thoughts, any questions, any feedback?